Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 wild coins worth over $1,000 that are errors. It's not really the best title. I still have to figure it out for when I actually make the video title, but I've done a series on the denominations, kind of talking about the different mint errors, say on dimes, quarters, half dollars, all sorts of things. But there are some coin items, maybe it's a foreign coin, or maybe it's just something very unique that I thought fit into this category. So maybe it's a gold coin that's really high denomination. Maybe it's a foreign coin, or maybe it's just something coin related. But all of these items have sold for quite a bit at auction, and I'm excited to share them with you today. I've picked 10 that I just think are super cool, and I figured let's do a video on it. So with that being said, we'll go to the presentation and show you some of the craziest coins that have ever made their way out of the mint that aren't kind of a traditional denomination. And here we have the first of these coins. So this is a really cool coin because, and a lot of these are going to be pretty significant, but not only is it obviously 10% off center and gold coins were held to a much higher standard, it's also an overdate. So you can see the 1900, the 0 poking out from behind the 1 if you look closely. So I think that that's just a really cool combination. A lot of the older errors are these sort of struck a little bit off center coins. But on gold, it just makes it that much more special again because of that higher standard and because there were not very many of these gold coins even made. This one sold for about $10,000 in 2006 and certainly stands out. And then the next one is really more of a coin item. It's this partially perforated. It's basically the planchets, the strips that they were striking the planchets from, and somehow it got out of the mint. This one sold for $4,300, and I just thought that this is more of an honorable mention because I included 11 items or coins. This is the only non-coin item in here today, but just wanted to bring it to your attention. Somehow they sold it at Heritage. Then right here we have a blank double eagle planchet. It was like 33.64 grams. It was really within that tolerance where it would make sense, but like I said on the earlier one, and with a lot of this sort of gold stuff, the standards are pretty high that this would not leave the mint, but somehow it escaped without having had any formal impression on it. It didn't really get a grade. It was just NGC mint error certified. It's real and sold for $12,650. After that, I just thought that this was fascinating. Maybe it's because it's just a little bit something different, but this is a proof-like 1967 Canadian dollar. And the coin was double struck and was rotated in between the striking, but it stayed within the collar. So you just have this really interesting impression where it almost looks like Queen Elizabeth II is evolving. And then you have this goose that looks a little bit more than a real goose, or maybe it's diving, truly is. But it just creates an effect that obviously it's really just double struck, but I think that it stands out a little bit more here than on some of the other coins, maybe being proof-like as well. It's not as expensive, but I just thought that was really cool, so that's why I put it in. $2,500 was what it sold for at Great Collections in 2014. After that, we've got this crazy coin. I have no idea how this one happened. Immediately, the price jumps out $21,000, quite expensive. But it's a 1969 Canada quarter, was struck onto a, you can see there, Deutsches Reich 1906 20 Mark, 20 marks, and then, here, whatever, I forget his name, but the King of Prussia, maybe Wilhelm, Wilhelm II. How did that happen? I have no idea. Maybe a mint employee just went in and struck it for fun, knowing that they'd have a valuable coin down the road, certainly more valuable than the 20 mark, but that's a cool coin right there, and you almost would never expect that to exist when it's a cross-country strike, where I would really doubt that Canada was striking these on behalf of Germany, though maybe they were, I'm not really sure, but it doesn't make much sense. There's also some, I think it was like a 1970 quarter overstruck on a 1942 V Victory Canadian cent, something crazy. I forget the exact details, but reminds me of that. Then we have this one, which is more of a quick inclusion, but the United States was striking, and you can see it right over here, United America. This was at the Denver Mint, 1945D. They struck a bunch of Filipino coinage, and this one was a 20 centavos that made its way onto a 10 centavo planchet. Again, not as expensive, but when it's a really limited but still significant run and there were some mess ups, I always think that those are really interesting. So this one sold for $2,600 in 2013. After that, we've got this 1853 Victoria Young Head Half Sovereign, and it's just a true Brockage. Basically, this sort of a similar coin was remained in the collar, and then when it strikes down, you have one side that's unaffected, but the reverse impression or imprint of what this, the coin that shares this, I would assume that would be the Obverse, but it shares this Obverse, then comes and imprints it onto this. The reverse of that shows up on the coin. All the lettering is inverted, so if you held it up to a mirror, you could read it, and really it's a full mirror of this main side with the young head of Victoria. $4,600 paid for back in 2006, probably one of the really significant British mint errors. There's a similar coin that sold for about 8 times the amount at $32,310 on a gold dollar, 1874. Similar time frame, but the detail on this is really remarkable. Mint state 62, and again, this similar coin would have been retained in the collar, then struck onto and imprinting, because it's obviously blocking the reverse die or the obverse die, and you get 2 reverse dies, one of them brockaged and inverted. So pretty significant, if you ask me. This one is just a double struck in collar, but on a gold coin. So a really large planchet. A lot of the devices, or really a lot of the lettering is totally messed up. You can see the double striking all throughout. It's clearly more than doubling, and the head looks like there's been a little bit of movement. Same thing in all the lettering, and with the quality that would have been paid. There's a lot of control on the $20 coins because they were pretty important, and that this made it out is super, super cool and significant. So $37,375 makes sense in terms of a price, but still it's pretty high. Then we have this coin, which is a Canadian shocking error, 1985 National Parks. It's gold, I believe. I'm almost positive, but it's a proof ultra or deep cameo. It was double struck with the coin just totally becoming distorted. The second strike is 60% off center or so, and clearly, it distorted the planchet badly. So instead of being in collar and just rotating a little bit, this one, the planchet gets totally messed up, and combined with being a gold modern proof, really just is an eye-appealing and shocking coin that just totally stands out. So this one, and I keep using that word, standing out, but I mean, this one really probably is the most in that category of any of the ones featured here, and sold for $19,200. I remember it was on eBay for a while, or maybe the winner put it on eBay, half to brag, but whatever. And then our final coin is not as flashy, but I think it's pretty significant because it's a $50 1 ounce gold eagle that was struck on a 9999 fine American buffalo planchet. I'm not sure exactly how this was discovered, but I think that there was rumored to be one similar one out there, but this sold for $23,500, and most of these 1 ounce gold eagles are like a 917 fine. It's 22 karat gold, the remainder being silver and copper. But in this case, somebody had a really good eye for cherry picking. Apparently, maybe there's one other out there or something like that, but it just shows you, I like the ones where there's an example of like, okay, I'm not telling you you're going to find this. It's the odds are probably better to go play the lottery on something like this, but maybe not. I mean, people come up with cool finds when they pay a little closer attention, when they recognize that their 1 ounce gold eagle looks a little bit different, and maybe the just how the metal looks compared to their other gold eagles, and all of a sudden they have a really significant find like the one in front of us. So that's why I made it number 1 today. but some really, really cool, wild, out of the ordinary coin mint errors to go over today, and I hope that you enjoyed. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and definitely subscribe to the channel and connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a website, treasuretownYT.com, where you should go so that you can learn more about coins as well as what's happening on the channel and possibly find a place to sell your coins and collectibles. I also want to talk about some of my other projects like coinmeltprice.com, which shows precious metals prices as well as the melt values of coins containing those precious metals, both US and world. I also have coinsmetalscards.com, which will develop into a full marketplace as well as a news source for coins, metals, cards, as the name might suggest. And then treasuretowncoins.com, which long-term will be my coin dealing entity separate from the channel. And lastly, whatsthegrade.com, which will be a stickering service for already certified collectibles where you can get a approval or verification of the grade on the holder. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you on some of my other videos.